Hi everyone, it's Nora here. Welcome to our very first masterclass. I'm so super excited to do this with you guys. So let's jump right in. We're going to do a three-part series. So this is going to be the first part. And we're going to start it off talking about seasonal affective disorder or SADS. So SADS tends to happen towards the end of summer, so early fall time, and it lasts until January, February, and it affects mostly women. It's a depressive disorder, and we tend to feel very sad, very low, not motivated to do anything, irritable, fatigued, um, cravings for carbs, etc. So we're not really feeling that great. And 1 in 3 people tend to suffer with this. So it's a wide phenomenon of people right now dealing or going through SADS. And so what we find is that when the days get shorter and it gets darker sooner, melatonin, which is produced when it gets dark, the melatonin levels increase. And so we tend to feel tired and more fatigued because melatonin is associated with sleep. Now, there's less sunlight, and sunlight is associated with serotonin, and serotonin levels help us to feel good and help us to feel happy. So, with the increased levels of melatonin and the feelings of sleepiness, and the decreased levels of serotonin and the feelings of not feeling so great, it's no wonder some of us just feel like a hot mess. Okay, so we're going to look at manipulating that with diet. So, we're going to get things like lots of dark green leafy greens. We're going to get complex carbs, whole grains. So think things like quinoa, um, red rice, freekeh, beans and peas like lentils and chickpeas, etc. Nuts and seeds like chia, hemp, flax, pistachios, cashews, almond, walnuts. And we're going to do, my brain just like went absolutely blank there. But it's back. We're going to also do things like having healthy, pasture-raised, organic, free-range, humanely killed meat. And if you like having the organ meats, which I wouldn't touch, then you can have organ meats again, high in B vitamins. You can have things like shellfish, which I again don't touch, but shellfish and seafood are also really good in providing omega-3s, and fish oils, which are super important when you're looking at dealing with SADS. If you are vegan or vegetarian, then I would definitely recommend supplementing. So having a whole foods raw type of supplement to ensure that you're getting all of the nutrients and minerals, etc., that you need. I did write notes because I knew my brain was going to go dead. So I will start with the B vitamins. So vitamin B6, B9, and B12 are the vitamins, the specific B vitamins that we need to help us when we are dealing with SADS. Now this helps with stress and helps us to manage stress. It helps with nervous function, etc. And it's water soluble. So it's sort of a yellow color. And if you take too much, then you'll just wait out and you'll see that with very bright yellow urine. So you want to add a vitamin B complex to your supplements, and vitamin D. So vitamin D is produced, the body produces it when there's a lot of sunshine. Now in wintertime, we're not seeing so much sun, and vitamin D levels can be very low. So we want to make sure we're supplementing with vitamin D, but not just any vitamin D or any vitamin B. You want to make sure it comes in a glass bottle and that it's not full of junk. So you guys can feel free to email me pictures of your supplements with the ingredients so I can tell you if it's a good product or not. It should literally just have the ingredients in there, no fillers or bulking agents, etc. If you can get it in a liquid form, that's best. And with the vitamin D, you want to make sure that it has K2, which helps the vitamin D to be better absorbed into the body. And vitamin D is also associated with increased mood states. Okay, so there's a couple of things that you can supplement with: vitamin B, vitamin D, fish oils, and omega-3s. Okay, now we also want to look at, I'm turning around like I actually have them here and I don't have them here. We also want to look at a couple of herbs. So St. John's wort, tincture form if you can, or tea, and that helps with depression and anxiety. There are lots of studies around St. John's wort being really effective in helping with SADS. And it takes around 8 weeks to kick in, and it is a contraindicator. So if there are medicines that you're taking, you definitely need to check in with your doctor that this, taking the St. John's wort is not going to be problematic for you. There's also an adaptogenic herb called rhodiola. And rhodiola is best in a tea or tincture form again. And what happens is when you take this, it helps the body, it supports the body to deal with the stress that you're going through. Okay, so those are two things that you could add in along with your vitamins. I would recommend a whole foods base, so not just them individually, but you're getting other vitamins as well. Your organic meats, your complex carbs, your dark green leafy vegetables, your nuts and seeds, etc. So there are a couple of other things that we need to look at to support SADS. So we're going to look at getting daily sunlight. Now, I personally haven't seen the sun for a few days. And I noticed the impact on my mood. When the sun comes out, I feel free. I'm like, oh my God, I love the sun. I'm West Indian, born and raised on an island, sunshine every day. So to come to England and there's no sun, it's been a huge adjustment, but I make it work. So 10 to 30 minutes of sun, unexposed skin every day. Now remember now, the sun, it's positioned differently in the hemisphere or whatever. So it's not even like really strong sun. So I personally don't think you need to have sunscreen because you're blocking the UV rays from getting, like the sunshine from getting into your skin, which I think it's not good. So you need to get direct sun onto your skin and let your body soak it up, produce vitamin D naturally, feel good, feel great, etc. But if you've got super sensitive skin and you need to put on sunscreen, I'd recommend either making your own, a natural based one that's not full of toxins, or getting a really, really good brand of sunscreen. The next thing you can do is light therapy. So I absolutely love this lamp. As you can see, it's really bright, and I lived in a house a few years ago, so dark, and I was just going through a period where I was just depressed. I'm like, oh my God, this is not you, like what's happening? And I couldn't figure it out because there was nothing happening to make me feel so sad. And then I realized I wasn't having any sun, and like my house was just positioned like off road, and well, it was near the road, but it wasn't like there was no sun coming in at all, and it was just so dark. And I got this light, and I would put it on every morning, and I'd put it on for 10 to 30 minutes, and I would just sit near it, and you wouldn't believe it worked absolute magic for me. Where I am now, we get beautiful lighting, so I don't use it as much, but I would definitely recommend you guys getting the a lamp and using it, because it does wonders for you. Now, the next thing that we need to do with SADS is, aside from sunlight, aside from nutrition, we need to look at reducing stress levels. Okay, so calming down, reducing the stress levels, looking at what our main stresses are, and seeing how we can eradicate or greatly minimize them. Sometimes it may be family and those closest to us. Now we're in lockdown. You might be able to get away if your family always there, and kids can be a source of stress as well. And so what can you do if you can't get away? Well, you can book in more self-care. I think self-care, and I preach about it so much, is so important. Self-care is self-love, it's self-reduction. That's it. What is self-care? Self-care is what you need to do as an individual to care for yourself. So what is self-care for you is different from me. So my self-care now, which it wasn't at all a year before, is watching movies. Now, I would never waste time and watch movies before. I would never ever do that. I'd always think that's not a good use of my time. But my life is so intense that I just need to switch off. I just need to just laugh at nonsense and not think about anything seriously. So before I started filming, I watched my favorite Nigerian movie, and I just was laughing. It was just hilarious to me, and I felt good. I felt calm. I was like, okay, I can go do this now. I've done something for me. Sometimes self-care is just getting up early in the morning and having a nice cup of coffee and quiet. Or self-care may be a bath, with herbal teas in there. That's another video I'll teach you guys about. Or it might be talking to a friend, or it might be just amazing sex. That is what self-care is. Sometimes we just need it. We need it good. So that's the next thing that we talk about. So reducing the stress and booking in the self-care every day. And also we need to talk about sex. So we touched on that briefly, but I want to elaborate on that more. A lot of us don't talk about just how powerful sex is. Sexual energy, it's powerful, it's freeing, it's liberating, it feels good. Now think about when you have a good, strong, powerful orgasm. You are experiencing endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, all of those good neurotransmitters are just going they're just happy bubbles popping everywhere, and you feel relaxed, you feel calm, you might feel a bit sleepy, your body feels light, it feels free. It's the best feeling ever. And so we need to talk about that. We need to talk about, booking sex in if you're not having it regularly every day. Yes, I said every day. So people are like, are you mad? Every day if you can. Why not? And that ties into your relationship with your partner. You having, do you have a good, strong, supportive relationship with your partner where you can practice mindful based sex? So you're not just having sex, but you're tuning in to what feels good for you. You're tuning into your partner. It's a reciprocative activity where you're giving and you're receiving, right? And the social connection is really important. And there was this study done by Dr. Gabor Mate, and it's called Rat Park. And in this study, he did an experiment with some rats, and he put some rats in a cage, and they were just by themselves, and the rats had water or drug-based water, and they went for the drug-based water, and pretty soon they died of malnutrition and loneliness, and it was really sad. I don't agree with animal studies, but then there was a rat park, and rat park was like, happy places for rats, and there's everything a rat could want plus other rats. And so same scenario, but rat park, and the rats in rat park went for regular water. So when they had the social connection, they didn't need to have the drug-based water. So what I'm tying this into sex is that sometimes we feel depressed and we feel low, and that could be because melatonin levels are increased, serotonin levels are low, we might not be nourishing ourselves well, stress levels may be high. But when you tap into doing things that feel good, like sex, think about when you have a really amazing, like an amazing, I don't want to say smash session. It's so funny. When you have an amazing session, like you feel amazing, and when you're tuned into your partner and you guys, you love each other like that, and you've got that connection, it's empowering on so many levels. So if you are not doing that regularly, then I would recommend booking it in if you're not having it daily, and having as much as you absolutely can, being sporadic with it, being adventurous with it, knowing and allowing yourself to feel good. Because as women, sometimes we're givers, right? We want to give, we want to please, we want to take care of others, and that is what leaves us with an empty cup. And it happens even in sex. And you see it within the industry. We're always taught to please our partners, but we too need to be pleased and pleasured and satisfied as well. And so it's that conversation with yourself to, if you're not already doing that, to allow yourself to feel good, to receive, to lay back, to enjoy, to accept, and to not feel guilty about that. So I really wanted to talk about that just briefly for today's video. Have sex, have great sex, have amazing sex, have lots of sex. And when we are exercising, which is the next thing that we need to do with helping the body to release endorphins, which help us to feel good, and it also helps with pain reduction during exercise, it's to practice the working on the pelvic floor muscles, okay? So your vaginal muscles, where you stop the flow of urine, okay? So if you imagine you're weeing, and then you squeeze up, you squeeze in, and the pelvic floor, it's activated. Now, those are the same muscles that tie directly into orgasm. So when you are exercising and we're working on the pelvic floor, you can squeeze and hold really long, or squeeze and hold, short, or do like, little flutters, squeezing and releasing. And as those muscles get stronger, you'll find that you are able to have more powerful orgasms, bring yourself closer to orgasm faster. And again, we don't talk about this in fitness, but it's all directly related into how we feel good generally as human beings. So with exercise, start practicing your pelvic floor muscles, pelvic floor muscle exercises whilst we're doing things like squats or bridges or lunges. Or if you're doing a crunch, you can squeeze in and hold. And that's going to help to improve your sex life, which is again going to help with the release of all of those feel-good neurotransmitters. And again, that's going to tie into you feeling great and not feeling so bogged down with seasonal affective disorder. And finally, with the exercise, we need to be making sure that we're exercising every day, 30 minutes at minimum, something that you enjoy. So it might be my classes, it might be somebody else's classes, it might be going out on your own or with the kids, swimming, whatever it is, 30 to 60 minutes every day. Moderate to vigorous activity, unless your body is saying, I just need to have a good stretch. I just want to be slow today. And that's really important, to tune into your body, because sometimes you go, and we overdo it and we do too much, okay? So that is my shaplang for what we need to be doing to support with SADS. But my loves, I wanted to show you guys something that I also do. So Tisserand, which is a brand that I use, they make these little roller balls, okay? And this one is True Comfort, and it's, you know, an oil-based essential oil roller ball, and it just, you know, helps with breathing or relaxing, etc. Now they're like £14 a pop, and I'm like, I'm not paying that for it, because I know I could make it for a fraction of the cost, which I do. Now you want to make sure that you have an oil that comes in a glass bottle. So you're going to pretend this is glass. It's plastic, but it's dark colored, which means that the oils haven't been damaged by, you know, sunlight, etc. You can use almond, you can use jojoba, grapeseed oil, argan oil, whatever oil you like as a carrier, okay, which means that your skin is not going to directly absorb the essential oil. It's sort of like a barrier, because the essential oils can be very strong, and the essential oils are they're very potent. So antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial, there was one more so antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and antimicrobial. And basically it means that, you know, they fight against all of these bacteria, viruses, microbes, and fungi, which is super important in keeping the body healthy. But they're very, very strong, and if you've got sensitive skin, they can burn and itch and cause irritation. So I'm talking super fast. Let me slow down. You take your oil and an empty bottle, okay, and you're going to fill this up to halfway. Right. And there we go. So I'm filling mine up to halfway. See there? And then you're going to choose your blend of oils. So I'm going to choose a blend of oils that help with boosting mood. So for me, this one is Mei Chang, which I really like. So I'm just going to put 10 drops in here. I'm putting a little bit more than 10, I lie. I'm going to put 20, which you should really be doing. Are you guys counting? Because I know I've just lost track of my numbers. Okay, that's enough. I'm like not the best counter, I. Okay. Alright, so put my Mei Chang there. If I got some, I just rub it on myself. Sometimes when I'm making these, I smell like smell like an essential oil shop. So Mei Chang is really nice. And then I add some, this is French lavender, which is beautiful. It also helps with pain reduction. If you burn yourself, you put some lavender oil on there, it stops scarring. Okay, I'm not going to put loads because I'm almost out of that. So French lavender. My One True Love rosewood, which is like the most beautiful scent ever invented. It's so, so gorgeous. Come on. 5. Doesn't want to come out. 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd encourage you guys to really add a lot of rosewood, because it's just the most beautiful scent ever. It smells like heaven in a bottle. Okay, and then some people add lemongrass, but I find lemongrass a little bit too overpowering and too overstimulating. I want something that's going to soothe and like relax, not get me pumped. And I think lemongrass does that. But if you like lemongrass, you can. And then finally, some whole leaf. Whole leaf, again, is beautiful. I'm going to use that to open it, because my whole leaf is almost done. I'm going to add a few little pour there of whole leaf. And then you take the top, take the little roller ball there, okay, and you pop it on top, press it down, give it a good shake, and then give it a roll. And that's it. That's my roll right there. And I blend these together. So nice. So you guys saw that took like a couple of minutes to make your own roller ball. I've made 2 already. Okay, and you can have these, and you can just you know rub it behind the ears, on the wrist, under the feet. Whenever you're feeling a bit low, just have a little rub. And then I tend to take my rosewood specifically before bed as well, so I feel like nice and calm and relaxed. Put a couple of drops of rosewood on there, rub it together like that, make it nice and warm, and then breathe in. Breathe in a couple of times, and I just rub it all over me, and it's just divine. Okay, I smell beautiful. So that is what we're going to do for SADS. We're going to make sure that we are eating well, cutting out the crap, so reducing the like if we're craving carbs, we're reducing the amount of stuff we're having, so we're not binging on like pizza and chips and cakes and cookies and chocolate and wine and fizzy drinks and all of that stuff, and chips, like actual chips, not like french fries or crisp, they say in England. We're not giving into those cravings, okay? Fill up on fruit first. Pears, apples, mangoes, bananas, oranges, easy peelers, grapes, with cheese and like nuts, good cashew nuts and things like that. Fill up on that first. If you have a bad day, have a bad day. One meal out of 10 is not going to ruin anything. But cut the crap out, like get the junk out of your home, and try and put like dark organic chocolate and organic wines, and make your own sweets with dates and raw honey. Make your own energy balls and things like that, which I'm going to show you guys in another video at some point. Things that you tend to crave, if you know you tend to crave a lot of chocolate, make a healthy chocolate dish, so that you are getting the chocolate hit, but it's giving you the vitamins and the nutrients and the healthy fats, etc. And I wanted to say something about emotions, and then I'm done with this part of the masterclass. A lot of us tend to judge ourselves for how we feel. We judge ourselves for feeling sad, for feeling guilty, for feeling like we've had enough, for feeling like life is too much, like you don't want to carry on, like you're just fed up, like you just, everything, it's overwhelming. And we don't really get real with how we're feeling unless like you're in therapy. And sometimes for some people it might be too late. And what I want to say about emotions is that, like, as human beings, we go through, hundreds of emotions on different levels and in different intensities daily. And so to feel all of them, it's exhausting. And so what you do is, you should just let the emotions pass through you. Acknowledge that they're there. Don't judge. Don't criticize. Don't blame. Don't want to change. Just acknowledge that they're there. Let them do their thing. Let them ride. And then it passes. It's sort of like water going through a pipe. It just flows. There are not little stones in there. A stone of judgment. A stone of I wish you weren't here. A stone of like you need to leave. It just flows, and the water just it's out. That's the same thing that we should be doing with our emotions. And when I talk about in our meditations just being means that we are present, we are here in the now, and we're not trying to change anything, we're not trying to do anything differently, we are just being. That's it. And we should just let our emotions be. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And when we do that, we get a better grip of who we are, what we need. Ties into the self-care, stress is reduced. We don't feel guilty giving ourselves what we need, and we don't feel so shit because we've dealt with the emotions. So a lot of us right now, lots of emotions going on. If you find that journaling helps, or having a good cry in the shower, like crying is super important. It's an energetic release. Talking to a friend, whatever you need to do to deal with your emotions, like you need to deal with them, get them out. Don't hold it in, get them out. And maybe even having counseling is something that I personally am looking into doing. I think, counseling should be a regular thing that as human beings we're doing, the same way that we might go for like massage. We go for massage to physically release the stress and the tension from the body. And some of us are doing that weekly. Now, what are we doing to help with the emotions? Like, these are such hard times that we're in, and hard in terms of emotionally draining, because we don't know what's going on. And what are we doing to deal with the emotions? So if you can get like a good life coach or a counselor just to help you process what you're going through at the moment, that's absolutely recommended. So that's the video for SADS. Join me for the second part. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'd love to see your recipes of your rollerballs and what you've made for, your mood enhancing recipes, and let me know if they've worked. Lots of love.